Hello, at-home learners. Wednesday in class, we were talking about percent of a number and how to calculate the percent of a number. Very first thing we did, though, is we went over the homework. So you didn't have to solve the problem, but you did have to figure out if we were solving for the part, the whole, or the percent. So one thing that you can do is you can look at the numbers in the problem, and one of the numbers that sticks out to me is 40, and I see that it's connected to the percent sign. So we're not looking for the percent because they told us it's the percent. It's 40%. Then I see another number in this problem. It's the number 30. So I'm going to highlight 30, and if I keep going, connected to the 30, right after it is the word is. If I look back at my hint words, is meant part. So I'm not looking for the part either. We must be looking for the whole. So I'm going to circle the word whole, and then I'm going to look for the word that means whole, and our keyword is of. And if I keep going after that, I see that that's not a number. That's a question word. What is a question word? So that's the question we're supposed to solve. I know that we are solving the whole because of, I'll put that in quotes, doesn't have a number. I don't know the whole. It says of what, not of a specific number. All right, on the next page, right off the bat, there's a percent. It says 40%. So we are not solving for the percent. But after the percent, it says of, and we just talked about how of means a whole, and I'm going to keep going. There's no number there, but there's a word. The whole is the whole or total number of voters, right? A whole group of people voted, right? So I'm going to keep on reading and see if it tells me about the total voters. So here we go. 40% of the voters vote for SpongeBob for president. The next sentence says 80 million people voted. Some of them voted for SpongeBob because it said 40%. That's not all of them, right? So this 80 million is all the people who voted, not the some who voted for SpongeBob, right? So it told us how many voted altogether. That's the whole group, the total amount. So we do not know the part, and that's in the final question. How many votes did SpongeBob get? We're talking about some of the votes, part of the votes. I know because we have to find SpongeBob's. I'm going to write SB. SpongeBob's votes. Not all of them. So we're looking for the part of the votes were for SpongeBob. All right, today in class, we are making tape diagrams to find the value of a specific percent of a number. So the first problem that we did looks really similar to Monday. So here's that same advertisement, but this time we're actually going to solve the question. So in the advertisement above, are we looking for part, percent, or whole? Well, right smack dab in the middle, I see the word percent. And if I keep going to the left, I see 20. So that is 20%. I'm going to cross out percent. We're not looking for the percent. It told us it's percent. Sale, today only. All smartphones now 20% off. Normally $40 each. So I'm going to look at this other number that's in the problem. And I have to ask myself, is this part of the price or is that the whole price? $40 is the whole price. So we are not looking for the whole. We are looking for the part of the price that we don't have to pay. They're 20% off, so we're looking for the part that we don't have to pay. So in class, we kind of filled in number 2. We also just talked about it. All right, so number 3 said to shade in 20% of the tape diagram. So I asked the kids to shade in 20% of this. So you can use your brain or you can take a screenshot and shade in 20%. What do you think that looks like? And then number 4, how much money do you think you're going to save? Not how much are you going to pay for the phone. How much money do you think you're going to not have to pay? And as I told the kids in class, the only wrong answer is not actually answering the question. Okay, we're actually going to solve it now. Tape diagrams become more powerful when we use them to actually calculate the part, the percent, or the whole. So the one that they don't tell us, we're going to figure it out. We're going to calculate it. We're ready to take that step. So the problem that we were asked is to find how much money we're going to save. And that question is, what is 20% of 40? The whole cost is $40, right? You are not going to pay 20%. And again, notice here's the is, and in front of it is what? That's the question we have to solve. We have to solve for the part that we're not paying. So step 1 says we're going to solve for the part. Step 2 says determine what number you can count by to go through both 20 and 100. And the reason why they picked that is because 20% is the same as 20 on top of 100. So we're thinking about simplifying this fraction. The best number to divide by is 20 because you can equally split 100 by 20. You'll end up getting 1/5. So to determine how many equal parts we need to divide this big rectangle into, we divide 100 by 20, and you just saw me do that. That's 5. So I'm going to split this into 5 parts to the best of my ability. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. And then I'm going to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because 100 divided by 20 is 5. I have 5 sections. Percent always goes on the top. So I'm going to write a percent sign up here. And all the numbers on the top are going to be percents. On the ends of the tape, on the left is 0%. Let me grab a skinnier pencil here. 0% goes on the left. And on the other end is 100%. That goes on the right. So because we divided the diagram into 5 equal pieces, we're going to count by 20 on the top, labeling as we go. So I'm going to zoom in. Above the first line is 20%. Plus 20 is 40%. Plus 20 is 60%. Plus 20 is 80%. That's kind of a weird 80. I might try and do that again. Do it the old-fashioned way. There, 80%. And if I plus 20, I get to 100%. So I did that right. So far, this is exactly like Monday. Right? Step 2 is the new part. The part and the whole always go on the bottom of the tape diagram. The left end is 0 because 0% means nothing, 0. But on the right end, underneath 100%, down here at the end, I'm not going to put 100 because the whole price wasn't 100. It said 20% of 40. The whole price was 40. So down on the end, underneath 100, I'm going to write $40. Everything down below is dollars, not percents. Okay, so on the end, 0 and 40. We split this diagram already into 5 equal sections. So to figure out what to count by on the bottom, I'm going to divide the whole thing, $40, by 5 to determine what to count by on the bottom. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So we're going to count by 8. Count by 8 on the bottom of the diagram, labeling as we go. So on the bottom, 0 plus 8 is $8. The next one, 8 plus 8 is $16. The next one, 16 plus 8 is $24. And if you didn't know these numbers, it would be really easy to put in your calculator. Plus 8 is $32. And if I plus 8 one more time, I get $40. So let's look and see what happens. Hey, look, there's 40 at the end. We are really close to done. Our last step now is to circle the answer. It's the number on the bottom that lines up with 20%. We are going to color in to 20%. So that's here. So 20%, it really isn't very much of the tape. It's just one of the 5 sections. And the answer, I'll put a box around it, is where the 20% and the $8 lines up. So what is 20%? 20% of 40 is 8 because that's the number, in this case dollars, that's the number that lines up with 20%. All right, I'm going to jump back into Class Kick, and we're going to do 2 more examples, right? This time it's not a word problem. This just says what number is 25% of 60. I'm going to start by highlighting the percent, 25%. Then I'm going to write 25%. And then I'm going to rewrite it as a fraction. And if I leave it this way, because the denominator is 100, I would have to split that bar into 100 parts. I do not want to do that. So I'm going to simplify. I'm going to divide them by the same number top and bottom. And the first number to try is the number that you see on the top, the numerator, 25. I'm going to try 25 first. Divide by 25, divide by 25. Put the numbers in my calculator. I know 25 divided by 25 is 1, and 100 divided by 25 is 4. So instead of making that bar into 100 parts, I get to make it into 4 parts. That is so much better. All right, so I'm going to split it in half, and each half in half, and then I'm going to number 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. Now, to figure out the numbers on the top, here's 100%. It got split into 4 parts. So in a calculator, I'm going to put in 100 divided by 4. And when I do, I get the answer of 25, which interestingly matches what we divided by up on top. So that 25 is what we count by. 25% plus 25 is 50, plus 25 is 75. And if I added another 25, I would get 100%. Then comes the part that's new, and it's a little bit tricky. The problem up above tells us how much the whole is. The whole is always 100%. But if we find the word of, and we keep reading after it, it says 60. This whole bar represents 60. So on the bottom, I'm going to put a 60 on the right and a 0 on the left. So to figure out what to count by on the bottom, I take 60, which was the whole thing, and divide it into 4 chunks. And when you put that in your calculator, you'll get 15. So then you count by 15. 15 plus 15 is 30, plus 15 is 45, and if I add 15 more, I'll get to 60. We are almost done, super duper close. We need to find 25% of 60. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to color from 0 to 25%. So that's what 25% looks like. Again, not very much of the whole bar. And to find my answer, I'm going to put a box around 25% and the number that's right below it. That number is 15. So 15 is the correct answer. I'm going to do one more with you, and it's a word problem. All right. This problem says 48 middle schoolers go out for the volleyball team. I see the number 48, but at this time, I don't know if that's the part or the whole. But if I keep reading, the next thing I see is 25%. All right. So I'm going to write 25%, and then I'm going to write it as a fraction. And we actually have already done this one. We are going to divide by 25. Again, because 25 is the top number, that's the number we would try first. And that'll end up getting us 1 on the top and 4 on the bottom. So this entire bar gets cut into 4 chunks, equal to the best of your ability. Mine's not perfect, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Okay, then we have to figure out what to count by on the top. Remember, the whole bar is 100%, and it got cut into 4. So our divide by is 100 divided by 4, and that'll get you 25. So 25 is what we count by on the top. 25%, 50%. Again, we've done this one before. 75%. Awesome. Now we're going to go back up into the words and keep reading that sentence. It says 25% of, hey, there's that keyword, of, and then the next word is them. Them is a pronoun. It means go back to the previous sentence. Who were they talking about? Well, there's that number, 48. 48 middle schoolers. So what that next sentence really says is 25% of 48 middle schoolers make the team. So 48 middle schoolers is the total. So down on the bottom at the end, I'm going to write 48. And if I wanted to put a label, I could say middle schoolers or students. On the other side is 0. So the entire bar is in 4 chunks. So this time the division is 48 because that was all the kids split into 4 equal groups, and your calculator will tell you 12. So you count by 12s on the bottom. To find the answer, the percent said 25%. So I'm going to grab my highlighter, color into 25%, and then put a box around the number underneath 25. And the answer is 12. 12 students made the team. A whole bunch of them didn't make the team, and we're going to look at that in just a second. 12 made the team. The yellow part made the team. So everything represented by the white part didn't make the team. And remember how these are supposed to be equal groups? Then that means, kind of write this kind of big, that if the yellow part is 12 kids, then the next part is 12 kids. The next part is 12 kids. The next part is 12 kids. 12 plus 12 plus 12 is 36. 36 students didn't make the team. 12 made it and 36 didn't. All right? So that's 36 pretty bummed out kids. In the next lesson, we're going to find the percent when the problem gives us the part and the whole.